All of you, all of us, either actively participating or sitting on the sidelines neutrally, think that, oh my Lord, I'm embarrassing myself so hard. I am doing the gritty on my own social grave by being a part of this very movement that all of us are a part of. Peach, I will go out there and I will take a shit.
In our top story, Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev has been removed from power.
Breaking news! The Soviet Union has collapsed.
The nuclear threat, while far from gone, is receding. Eastern Europe is free. The Soviet Union itself is no more. This is a victory for democracy and freedom. It's a victory for the moral force of our values.
In the immediate aftermath of the fall of the Berlin Wall, Comrade Bob the Builder traveled in secret around the rapidly declining Soviet Union for what would be the last time. One last sweep of the streets he used to rule. He visited the statue of Comrade Squidward, the pub where Lenin and the Wheatles first performed, and violated quarantine to see the ruins of Chernobyl. He knew that very soon his enemies and his allies would both be coming for him. As he stood at the site of the melted Chernobyl reactor core, next to a three-eyed chimpanzee.
This is hitting me harder than you think. We had it like right here, brothers. Brothers? Hello, brother. We had it right here. Brother? And it went to shit. And in return, with the counterbalance of, hey, your idea might have gone to shit, but you got an alternative. The alternative we've gotten Yeah. It do be sucking to be you, man.
Paul, Bob had a profound thought that maybe communism wasn't about the destruction of classes or the abolition of private property. Maybe communism is about the friends we make along the way. This is the story,
Yes, brothers, and that is why you are here.
of the real-life Humpty Dumpty. How the man who sat on the most famous of walls had perhaps the greatest of falls.
Mr. Bob the Builder, tear down this wall.
Because people gotta know whether Bob the Builder's a crook. Well, Bob's a crook.
I did not have diplomatic relations with Bob.
When we find ourselves
History is a beautiful thing. And while right now,
Wonderful, a new
these
child
people are
soldier,
not only not
subscriber.
vindicated, but are defined as the greatest opponents of liberty. Van Gogh himself was seen as a degenerate drunk before his paintings graced the walls of some of our world's most respected museums and galleries. Socialists, just like capitalist revolutionaries back before they could even define themselves as capitalist revolutionaries, were seen as insane degenerates, proposing that the God King was a meme and that something else was better. All of you, all of us, either actively participating or sitting on the sidelines neutrally, think that, oh my Lord, I'm embarrassing myself so hard. I am doing the gritty on my own social grave by being a part of this very movement that all of us are a part of. And most likely you are, at least in your own lifetime. You are doing the gritty on your social welfare. You are doing the gritty on the grave, your social life, as you continue to be the guy that, as everybody refers to you, whenever you hang out with your bros, and after the third beer, you're like, dudes, let me introduce you to the scientific methodological analysis of Marxism, Leninism, Maoism, anarchism, or whatever the fuck you believe in. But in the long run, back in the day, it used to be much harder. They used to be vindicated for crimes that were put on their behalf, that were put on their shoulders. Nowadays, we have it much easier because the only crime we carry is the crime of cringe, the crime of me sitting here with this mask screaming at you, and the crime of cringe of you participating in this chat room. But if the actual crime was vindicated, the crime of our cringe will be vindicated as well. Just give it time. Socialism, communism, anarchism, call it whatever the fuck you want, might not be inevitable de facto. But do you really care about what people in an alternative system think about you? Being a socialist, being a communist is literally the safest path you can go in, because 100 years down the road, 200 years down the road, the only people that are going to be hating on you, the only chance of people hating on you, is if barbarism won, if fascism won. And do you really care about what a fascist thinks of you? I don't think so. So in that name, cheers, stay cringe, stay class conscious, stay fucking hard on the spectrum, because we got this. And even in the case that we don't got this, nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit. Živeli, Bog s vama.
In times of struggle, Karl Marx comes to thee, speaking words of wisdom, let it we. A world-famous lyric sung by Lenin at the height of the Russian Revolution, the song Let It We by the Beatles would have a profound impact on a young journeyman living in the heart of the rapidly industrializing British Empire. Growing up in a small working-class British town in the early 1900s, Bobbert the Builder was never expected to be anything special. His forklift certification scores were average at best, and his supervisors doubted that he had the aptitude to make foreman. But inside Bob, a spectre was haunting his inner conscience, the spectre of communism. Having been indoctrinated by Marxist-leaning warehouse logistics manuals written by Comrade Squidward, Bob the Builder became a full-blown Red, and in his early 20s he immigrated to Russia to escape political persecution.
Okay, this is better. I much prefer this fucking mask. Jesus Christ, the other one is very tight.
And what the West considered to be an unholy land, Bobbert arrived just in time for the 1922 Comic-Con, which would establish the Soviet Union.
Wonderful, a new child soldier, subscriber.
After this, Vladimir Lenin would go to the collectivized farm upstate, but he would quickly be succeeded by Wheatl's drummer, Joseph Stalin, as the leader of the Soviet Union. And
Wonderful,
right off
a
the
new
bat,
child soldier,
Stalin started
subscriber.
killing everyone. While these political persecutions caused the death of thousands, and many saw them as a reign of terror, to Bob the Builder, who found himself at the bottom of the Soviet political hierarchy, he saw...
Stream got me wanting to drink, and it's 1:30 here. PM and AM and modesty are capitalist inventions. Sobriety is a capitalist invention.
Only promotion.
That tastes like promotion!
And through massive construction projects,
Those who know, know.
loyalty, Bobbert would begin his rise.
Man, at this point, I'm kind of drunk. At this point, like, chat, like, I'm not gonna lie. At this point, I'm sorry, but have you ever drank 700 milliliters of vodka live in front of like 100 people? No, you haven't. And I'm still good. No, I'm still good. No, I'm still good. God bless. God bless. God bless. Let's go back to the story.
Build the wall, build it right so there's no recall. Break it down, overhaul. Build the bomb, don't make it small. Fill some holes, kill some poles. Level it out, make it roll. Build a bridge, charge a toll. Hard hat, burn some coal. Forklifts, tire ruts, car hearts, tighten nuts. Pixar moms, dump trucks. Date your mom, fix the flux. Through his work in World War II, securing American supplies and increasing Soviet manufacturing output, his work on the Tsar Mo bomber, and his infamous construction of the Berlin Wall to prevent skilled communist laborers from seeking dental insurance, Bob had established himself as a highly recognizable international figure. His legendary rise from a lowly British journeyman
Wonderful, a
to
new
leader
child
of the
soldier,
communists
subscriber.
on the front lines of the Cold War had made Bob the envy of every Facebook mom in the Western world. But after Stalin's death due to a fried chicken addiction, Bob was...
He really was addicted to fried chicken. Arguably, like, the one thing that Americans are missing out on when it comes to like anti-Stalin propaganda, I can't believe they're like not using it, is that our thick boy Stalin was obsessed with cowboy movies. Like, I would milk the living shit out of that. I would milk the shit out of that. Stalin being obsessed with Wild West films is like top tier fucking propaganda, my brother. How did they never use it? It's never gonna be clear to me, brother. It's never gonna be clear. Because of the mask I'm wearing, brother. I'm talking more like an Irishman. I'm about to attempt and fail at bombing Margaret Thatcher.
Left without, perhaps, his only friend. When this happened, Bob was heading up the Soviet puppet government in East Berlin.
Eating glue and you're not even a sub, but I'm reading your shit. What do you mean I had a white cloud immediately after brushing my teeth?
Isolated,
I am not a negative influence. I am looking at you, Trat, and I'm being very toxic.
Keeping Bob the Builder in Berlin. He wouldn't
Do you want to keep Bob the Builder in the land?
For this reason, Bob's career was stagnant, and he would go without a promotion for the rest of his life. But keeping Bob away from Moscow seemed
the vodka is here,
insufficient to his
which I will not be drinking
Comrade
for subs.
Squidward, in particular,
Not
wanted
at all.
Bob's legacy tarnished to preserve himself as the greatest foreign adversary to the West. To orchestrate Bob's downfall, they engineered a catastrophic failure of reactor number 4, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, in 1986. This was a complex totally designed and built by Bob, and he was held personally responsible for the nuclear disaster in the Soviet press. While Bob dealt with the fallout of the scandal, Ronald Reagan made a strike at the Soviet jugular right in the heart of Berlin. Using the Kool-Aid Man to bust down the Berlin Wall, the West had brought down the Iron Curtain right from under the nose of Bob the Builder.
Bob the Builder, right under the nose.
Fate.
That was funny.
As the East German government collapsed in the aftermath of the fall of the Berlin Wall, Bob pulled aside his KGB assistant, Vladimir Putin, and issued his final order, stating, "Save the
Fucking cunts, man. You made a fucking gift. Of course they made a fucking gift. Of course they made a gift. Yeah. It's a great fall, though. It's a very elegant fall.
Publics, if you can." Bob was arrested shortly after the fall.
So if you say I don't physically sacrifice myself for the stream, you're lost.
Of the Berlin Wall and charged by the Soviet political hierarchy with
Живо.
treason. He escaped the death penalty for his crimes by a single vote. He was then subsequently stripped of his titles and honors, and in early 1990 he was exiled from the country that he loved. While the Soviet
Dude, this is a great fucking video, man. This is literally a great fucking video because it tells a story of like so many cousins that I've had.
Wonderful,
This,
a new child soldier, subscriber.
Unfortunately having to leave it, sadly. Just like this beautiful comrade.
Leadership and people became fixated on Bob the Builder and punishing him for his failures. They yet again were unable to see their own. For years, Ronald Reagan had been funneling pairs of fake Jordans to the Soviet Union as part of his drip-down economics policy. The USSR had been purchasing these pairs of Jordans as part of their pair striker economic model, hoping to strike gold by reselling the basketball shoes in the future for premium prices. When the news broke that the shoes were fake, the Soviet Union instantly collapsed due to the massive monetary losses. Bob spent his first 2 years in exile, bouncing.
Speaking of collapse, your viewership of Yugopnik Twitch will collapse in exactly 2 minutes and 30 seconds because Jeff Bezos will play a video.
Around a number of countries who really wanted nothing to do with
That
him.
was a fucking 9 out of 10.
States of the Soviet Union and the West.
Marcuso, fuck you, man. What the fuck? You're not even a sub, so why are you hating, motherfucker?
Bob had nowhere to go. He had attempted to return home to Britain in 1992.
Okay, there you go, Marcuso. 7.5. The only way you can make this feel better if you actually become a sub. Okay?
Asylum by his old adversary, the US and the Clinton administration, who offered him a small shack on the US island territory of Puerto Rico. Bob would spend the remainder of his days here, now an old man, filled with regret, waiting to die.
Chatted drunk out of 10. I'm not drunk. Fuck you. Prove I'm drunk. Prove I'm drunk, motherfucker.
Alone.
What brand vodka
Much of
is?
his time would be used to reflect
Belasova.
on the past.
It's the same as Beluga, but it costs basically 70% less, and it's the same thing.
Bob was under almost constant surveillance by the CIA, who tracked his every move, bugged his home, and controlled all of his visitors. But he never would receive a single one.
There you go. Aronin is recognizing it.
Bob passed away on May 25th, 1999. He was placed in an unmarked grave, and his death was largely a footnote in history.
Literally, Bob's story is equal to that of some of our greatest revolutionaries. Even not only like communist revolutionaries or whatever the shit, like anti-imperial ones in South America, in North America, in the Balkans, in Eastern Europe, in Western Europe even, you know. You fight, you die, everybody forgets you. So if you're in it for the hype, please exit the server, because most likely, my friend, you will not get the hype, with all due respect.
His last words were rumored to have been, "Ungrateful country, you shall not even possess my tools."
Salute to motherfucking Bob right now. One day we shall find his grave, we will uncover it, and on top of it, we will build a gold statue made out of the gold emblems carried on the bodies of the capitalist state. Every single ring, every single jewelry piece that they had put on their disgraceful, class traitorous bodies will be melted down and rebuilt into a beautiful Bob the Builder statue, which will look down upon us not with a sense of superiority, but a sense of inspiration from the hill on which we place it. And it will say, "I am Bob, and the only thing I want you to do is build, build, and build." Bob is with us. Bob is in us. And thank you, Romka, for the sub. They can't prove that Yugopnik is drunk. Like, they can't prove Saddam Hussein weapons of mass destruction. Yeah! Exactly. But thank you, Bob. And unironically, thank you all the hundreds of thousands of Bobs and Bobettes and individuals that wouldn't like to define themselves as Bob or Bobette for building every single wall, every single toilet, every single fucking electricity line, every single road, every single little parking spot that like hospital cars can go into. Thank you. Unironically, thank you. I know I'm being like, oh, little live stream Twitch guy being thank you. But no. Once we get there, we will thank you in ways you can't even imagine. You died weak on the bottom like nothing. But what you will leave behind will make your great-great-grandsons and granddaughters feel true pride. So don't worry. Karma comes at all points. That is one thing that is fucking unavoidable.